everyone, this is Sarah. So yesterday, or actually this whole weekend, has been just a weekend of cleaning house, taking care of things that had been left unattended for way too long. And one thing that we did was we cleaned out our freezer of all of the fat trimmings that we have saved. It was not just fat trimmings, but also bones from like our beef chuck roasts, our briskets, any steaks that we had bought. And there had to have been probably about 3-gallon bags full. And so I put them in the crock pot, and I put the crock pot on low, and I just let all of the fat melt. So from that, we ended up with, I've already been using it to cook with and to coat our cast iron pans with, but we ended up with almost 3 full pint jars of rendered down fat, which this is beautiful, beautiful fat. The boys even commented that it looks like butter. And then this right here, it's more of a gelatin type consistency, and so once we get to that point, I'll just mix it into Pup's food and he will love it. After I finished rendering down everything that I could get from the fat and the trimmings and the bones, I went ahead and I filled the crock pot up with water, not almost, just enough to cover everything, probably about this low down, and I set it on low for about 12 hours. And it made some beautiful beef broth. The beef broth can be used for just about any dish that calls for water. So you can put it in your rice, in your soups, your pasta, any dish that calls for water that's a dinner, lunch type meal, you can replace with beef broth. Now this one is still cooling, so I haven't put a lid on it. But all of this right here, this is all fat. So I'm waiting for it to come to room temperature, and then I'll scrape all of that fat off. And then the rest of this is beef broth. And it can last in the fridge for almost about a week. And then after that, everything that was left over, all of the fat that caramelized and all of the meat that was connected to the fat, all of the gristle and the cartilage, I removed all of the bones. But everything else, I went ahead and I put in the food processor and I just pureed it. And I have a loaf pan here lined with wax paper, and I poured it in here. I'm gonna put it in the fridge until it hardens, and then I'll slice it and then freeze it into portions for Pup to have with his dinner. I know there's other recipes that this is, I wouldn't necessarily say this is, but there are recipes very similar to this that is considered to be homemade Spam. So those are just a few things of ways to not let your scraps go to waste and how you can use everything. One thing that we did throw away are the bones left over. I mean, the bones had nothing left on them, but if you have any tips for what the bones can be used for, I'll make sure to save the bones next time. Thank you so much.